Hey guys, so I decided to do a quick series about using GTK4 in C. So before I get into the video, I'm firstly going to show you how to set up the environment properly to use this. And just note that I'm going to include these files into a Git repository and add that into the description or the comment section. So go check that out to download this file, and now I'll explain how to set up the environment. So firstly, I'm using MSys2 instead of the regular terminal. So that's what you see here. You can just install it and then use this blue icon here, MSys2 MINGW64. So if you just search on Google MSys2, you should find the installer for this. And the reason why I'm using this is because it's a bit easier to compile using this than the regular terminal. And also it's easier to find like the header files and stuff that we need to connect to when we're compiling. So anyways, after that, once you have it installed, you want to open it and you want to type this command here, which is pacman-syu. If you notice here, the S is a capital letter. So you just want to type that in and hit enter, and it will update and stuff. And when it's done, you actually want to close this and then reopen it and type this command in again. So it actually needs you to do it twice to fully upgrade. And once it's done, then you can start installing your libraries. So you can either install these one by one, or you can run this command here to install all three libraries at once. The libraries, well, not really libraries, they're packages. The first one is the GTK4 package, obviously. And then we also need GCC to compile the code, and we need package config. That's just so that we can pass some flags in when we're compiling. So yeah, once you run this command here, for VS Code you need to install the C and C++ extension pack. You can find it right here, it's this one, C++ extension pack. And then you need to include these two things in your include parts for the extension. So I'll just show you how to do that quickly. You need to press Ctrl Shift and P, and then you need to search for C /C++. And you'll see two options here. One is Edit Configuration UI, and the other one is Edit Configurations JSON. So you want to open the UI version here, so I'm just going to click on that. And down here in the include parts, that's where you want to paste these two things in. So that will just help VS Code pick up the GTK library. And it still is a bit buggy to pick it up, but it should work if you paste these two things in there. So once you've pasted them in here into the include part, you can just close this, and you'll notice that there's now a folder called .vs code or something in your project, and it has a JSON file inside it that has these parts written in it. Yeah, and once you're done with that, you can basically start this tutorial and you can get to coding. But if for some reason the setup doesn't work or something, you can always follow the troubleshooting settings that I have down here. And at the bottom here, there's a command you'll notice, it's LDD. And what this will do is it will tell you where those DLL files for GTK4 are. So basically, after you've compiled your application, you're done making it and you got your exe, it will run on your computer, but it won't run on someone else's computer. So you need to run this command here and find where those DLL files are. And if you want to basically move this app onto someone else's computer, you need to include those DLL files with the file. So yeah, with that out of the way, let's get to the coding part of this. Okay, so now that we have our environment set up, we can begin coding. But firstly, let's just make sure everything is actually set up correctly. So you want to open the MSys2, the MIN, whatever version this is. Yeah, make sure it's this version and not the MSys version or any other version that may have been installed with it. And in here, you just want to type GCC and hit enter. And if it says no input files, then everything is set up properly. So now to begin, we want to firstly include the library. So hashtag include, and it's gtk/gtk.h. And yeah, that will include the header file. And then we need to start our main function down here. And before we put any code in, up here where it says char const argv, I just want to replace that. So I'm just going to restructure it a bit here. I'm going to get rid of the const, and I'm going to make this a pointer to a pointer. So this is basically the same thing, I just structured it differently, and there's a reason why I'm doing this, which I'll explain soon. So now we want to firstly create the variable that will store our app. So the type is going to be G, and notice here it's giving me the error where it underlines the library. So even though we included them in the C and C++ extension, it sometimes still gives you this error. So to fix it, I just open up the configuration again, and sometimes when I come back it's just like automatically fixed. Like I don't change anything here, I just open it and come back and it's fixed. So yeah, now I want to do G with the capital G, GTK application, and the A here is capital. And then you want to make this a pointer, and I want to do my app. And now this is the name of our application, it's called my app. Well, it's called my app within C. We're going to give it a name here soon. So I'm setting it equal to, and we're going to do GTK underscore, and this is all in lowercase letters, GTK application underscore new. And okay, this takes two parameters. One is the application ID, so this is the actual name of your program now. And I'm going to do com.theo.test here. And then the second one is the G application flags, which you can see right here. So I'm just going to give it the default flags, which is all in capital letters, G underscore application underscore default flags. So this is it right here. And now this is basically the application that we're going to be adding stuff to and running. And then we need a status. So what the status is basically if the application crashes or something, the status is where that error is going to be stored in, and we're going to return status here instead of 0. So I'm going to do int status, and we'll just leave it at that. And then at the bottom here, instead of returning 0, I'm going to return status. Okay, so once we have this basic setup, we now need to call something when the application starts. So to do this, we need to do G underscore signal underscore connect. So we're connecting to a signal, and this will take a few parameters. So the first is the thing that we're connecting to. Now before we start passing in those parameters, because this is something you're going to get confused about, notice here we're using just the word G, just the letter G, and then here we're using GTK, and the same here. So basically what's happening is there's a base object called G object, and then we have another object called G application. It's not GTK application, it's just G application, and that's inheriting from G object. And then we have GTK application, which is this one, which is inheriting from G application. So it's like a long chain of things that are inheriting from each other. And this as a parameter here, it takes a G application. So when we're passing this, which is my app, into here, we need to first cast it into a G application. So that's what we're doing here. And as a parameter to this function, which is how we cast, it takes the app that we created, so my app. Okay, and as a second parameter here, it just wants the details of what signal we're looking for. So I'm looking for activate, which is when this program starts up. And then it's asking for a handler here, which is the next parameter. So to do a handler, we need to do G underscore callback. This is all in capital letters again. And this is a function, and it takes a function as a parameter. So I'm going to pass in the activate function here. This doesn't exist, I'm going to create it. And now it's asking us for data, so I'm just going to pass null in here. This data here is just additional data that we want to pass to this function when we call it. So I'm just going to close that, and then at the bottom here we need to do g underscore object underscore unref. So yeah, this is not in capital letters, it's in lowercase letters, g underscore object underscore unref, and we need to pass in my app here. Okay, so I just wanted to put this at the end so that we don't forget it. Basically what this is so GTK, it uses a lot of memory management stuff, and usually we'll have to use free whenever we use malloc. But because we don't even know when GTK is calling malloc or realloc and all of that stuff, this function right here is what frees up all the memory in our app. So we don't need to handle that manually. And now you can see that we're getting an error here. That's just because I'm saying g callback activate, but there's no activate function up here, so I'm going to create that. I'm going to do a void here. If you read the documentation or something, they do static void, but I'm just going to type void here. It's obviously static by default, and I'm going to call this activate. And okay, this takes in two parameters. So the first is the application we're passing in. Here we cast it as a G application, but I'm going to take it in as a GTK application. So yeah, that's something you'll notice a lot. We can basically cast things from GTK application to G application, and then we can also cast it back into a GTK application and stuff like that. So GTK application, and we use a star here because this is a pointer, and I'm just going to call this app so that we don't get confused, because if I wrote my app here and this one is also called my app. Anyways, then the next parameter we need to give it here is a G pointer, and I'm just going to call this data here. So this G pointer data is the same thing we're giving it here, the extra data, which is just null. And what a G pointer is basically it's just a renaming of a void star pointer. So if you type void star, you're basically creating a void pointer, and a void pointer can point to any type of data. So it can point to a string, an integer, anything. And basically what that means is we can pass any type of data here as a second parameter right here. And yeah, right now we're just passing null. We don't need to pass anything in. And okay, inside of our function, we need to create the actual window that will display. So this is going to be of type GTK widget. And yeah, this is also a pointer. And we're going to call this window. And I'm going to set it equal to GTK underscore application underscore window underscore new. And this only takes one parameter, which is the application that we want to create the window on. So I'm just going to do app here, which is what we're getting in as a parameter. And I just did something there. So yeah, we need to end this line. Okay, so now we need to add some default stuff to our window down here. Remember, window can't just exist. It needs to have like a title at the top and a default size to start out with. So I'm going to do GTK underscore window underscore set, and there's a few things we can set here if you look in this list, but what we're looking for is underscore title here, and this just takes a window and then a string to put at the top of the window as the window title. So the window here, notice that it takes GTK window, not GTK widget, which is what we have here. So we need to cast that as well, GTK window. And here I've accidentally auto-completed the wrong GTK window. So if you notice, all of the cast functions, they're in all uppercase letters. So GTK underscore window. And now we need to pass in the object that we want to cast, which is this right here, window. And as a second parameter, we need the string here. So I'm just going to say my test app. And yeah, next we need to set the default size. So again, it's GTK underscore window underscore set underscore size here. Actually, it's default size. So it's this one. And again, we need to pass in that window as a GTK window. So I need to cast it again. And for the size here, it just takes a height and a width. So I'm just going to set it to 200 by 200. And okay, that looks good. Now we just need to do at the bottom here, GTK underscore window underscore present. And again, this will take a GTK window as a parameter. So we need to do GTK underscore window. And then we pass in our window object here. And basically what this will do is, this is creating the window. And then this GTK window present is what actually like shows it on the screen, it presents it. So yeah, that's basically all we need to do. It's fully built. We just need to run the activate function or run this app here. So to do that, we need to do status, which remember if the app crashes, it's going to be stored in status. So we do status as equal to g underscore run application, or sorry, g underscore application underscore run here. And this takes the application, the int argc, which is what we have right here. And then it also takes char with a pointer to a pointer of a char with argv. So that's why I changed this in the beginning. This is basically the exact same thing that they had written, but it's just written in a different way. And C is really particular about how you declare things and use it, so that's why I changed it to this way. So okay, it takes the first parameter is g application. So we need to pass in my app here, but as a g application. So g application to cast and my app. And the second parameter is going to be argc, which is we're just going to use the same one as here. I'm going to copy that and paste it. And then the same thing for argv. So okay, so hopefully you should be getting no errors in your code right now. And yeah, that's why I changed argv earlier, just so that it matches correctly. So I'm going to open up the terminal here, and before I run this command again, this is not the normal Windows terminal, this is the MSys2 terminal with mingw64. So in here I'm going to do gcc, and I name the file YouTube. And then I'm going to do -o, and the output file I'm also going to call it YouTube. And then we need to use these backticks, which is the button above tab. And inside of it I'm going to do pkg-config. So this is what we installed with GTK4 and GCC when we were installing stuff into MSys2. And then we need to do --c flags, and then --libs and GTK4. So I'm going to hit enter here, and hopefully you didn't get any errors and everything compiled correctly. So now I can just run /YouTube here, and hopefully we see a window pop up. Yep. So this is the window we just created. You can see the title here is my test app, which is what we wrote right here. And the size by default was 200 by 200, and then this line is what displayed that window. So yeah, this has been how you create a GTK4 graphical interface in C using GTK4 library, and how to set up the environment and that stuff. So if you guys really enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a comment and like the video, and maybe I'll make like a part 2 of how to put elements into this window and stuff. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.